Hi, I'm Hana. Thank you for watching this presentation entitled Moments of Meeting. It's a qualitative study of trainee counsellors' experiences. Therapeutic relationship is considered central for change in psychotherapy. It provides warmth, safety, and trust. Change used to be understood as something that happens within a client. However, some other takes suggest that therapists actively co-create change. Successful treatment then consists of two main things: interpretation and moments of connectedness. The term moments of meeting were coined by Daniel Stern and the Boston Change Process Study Group. These moments refer to brief, affectively charged instances of genuine connection between therapist and client, in which both participants are mutually engaged in an authentic and often unexpected way. Such moments are thought to represent points of relational depth that can disrupt established patterns and open up new possibilities for experience and meaning-making. Stern suggested that moments of meeting are emerging from the ongoing process of moving along in therapy, where the therapist and client move towards therapeutic goals or goals of the session. Occasionally, certain interactions become more salient and enter awareness as present moments. And under special conditions, these present moments may develop into now moments, in which something new or uncertain is at stake. When such a moment is met with authenticity from the therapist, it can be transformed into a moment of meeting. This is a shift in the relational dynamic and the potential for therapeutic change. Stern's idea of moment of meeting is more theoretical. However, there were also empirical studies that explored moments of meeting. And one of the most important ones, or some of the most important ones, were carried out by Duarte and colleagues. The group explored experiences of both the therapists and the clients and came up with a whole list of similarities and some differences. They identified some key experiences, which include moments of being process rather than discrete instance. It is something that is unexpected and we can't predict it or learn to do it, but it is based on good therapeutic alliance. Moments of meeting have got triggers, and Stern suggested that these are mostly relational ruptures, but Duarte expanded on that, suggesting that they may also be positive, for example, heightened connection between the two. And they do have potential for lasting therapeutic change. The quality of the therapeutic relationship is often conveyed through subtle affective and bodily based processes that are not always explicitly addressed in training. For trainees, this creates a complex learning. They are encouraged to develop competence and adhere to established frameworks, while simultaneously encountering relational experiences that are spontaneous and not easily captured by technique. So, exploring how trainee counsellors experience and understand moments of meeting offers a valuable opportunity to examine how relational and embodied knowledge begins to take shape in practice. Such an exploration may provide insight into how trainees recognize and engage with moments of genuine connection, and how these experiences contribute to their emerging sense of therapeutic identity. So our research aim was to explore how trainee counsellors experience moments of meeting within the therapeutic relationship. We asked two main questions: how do trainee counsellors experience and make sense of moments of meeting? And what impact do moments of meeting have on the trainee and the therapeutic process? So how did we carry out our study? We used qualitative research design and carried out semi-structured interviews We obtained ethical approval from Bangor University. We followed BPS and BACP ethical guidelines, and we recruited participants as a convenience sample. We used inclusion criteria of age over 18 years, currently studying for a postgraduate counselling qualification based in the UK. Participants also had to have a student membership with a counselling professional body accredited by the Professional Standards Authority, a minimum of 1 hour of client work per month as part of their placement, a minimum of 1.5 hours of clinical supervision per month, an experience of a moment of meeting during their work with clients, such as synchronicity, clicking, or being on the same wavelength. So as I said, altogether we recruited 7 trainee counsellors. 1 was male, 6 were females, mean age 39 years, ranging from 24 to 65 years. And we recruited them through word of mouth from Masters in Counselling at Bangor University. For data collection, we used remote data collection on Microsoft Teams and analysed our transcripts using Thematic Analysis following Brown and Clark paper. And here comes an overview of my themes and sub-themes. So overall, I've got 4 main themes: shared experiences, embodied experiences, altered relation experience, and growth. 3 of these have got a number of sub-themes, and I will talk about them in more detail on the following slides. So the most prominent theme was shared experience, within which participants described perceived similarities between themselves and their clients across autobiographical, emotional, and relational domains. Many participants described parallels between their own lived experiences and those of their clients, often drawing on past and present personal histories. These perceived similarities appeared to foster a strong sense of empathetic understanding, sometimes described as an implicit recognition of having been there. This sense of shared experience was associated with increased attunement and a more containing relational space in which clients' narratives could unfold. And I included one quote here which says, "I could feel it straight away. I thought, oh God, that's exactly like my childhood." In some cases, these perceived similarities were linked to varying degrees of self-disclosure. Participants described moments in which a shared understanding appeared to be implicitly recognized within the therapeutic diet, even in the absence of explicit verbalization. Such experiences were understood as enhancing authenticity and strengthening the relational bond. And the quote I included here is, "When I shared my own experience, the client opened up more." Participants also described experiences of emotional resonance, characterized by a felt sense of affective attunement in the immediacy of the therapeutic encounter. These moments were experienced as reciprocal and embodied, contributing to a sense of being emotionally with the client. "It was human-to-human genuine connection," said one of the participants. A particularly deep sense of emotional connection was described by a participant who reflected on a motherly feeling experienced towards her client, something the client perhaps never experienced herself. "So very gentle, almost felt quite maternal towards her," said the participant. Embodied experiences. This theme highlights how shifts in the therapeutic encounter were registered not only cognitively but also through bodily awareness. Participants described noticeable changes in their own bodily states as moments in the interaction intensified and shifted. This included becoming more physically still or upright, changes in body posture, level of tension and relaxation, mirroring participants, bodily attunement between the therapist and the client. There were also internal bodily sensations that had emotional meaning. And again, there was this notion of particular feelings around the chest area or heart area. A couple of quotes that illustrate that. I noticed my own anxiety fading when the client relaxed. I said, I'm really feeling it here, touches her heart area, and then she got quite upset as well. The theme Altered Relational Experience captures participants' description of experiences that felt qualitatively different from everyday interaction. They were often characterized by a heightened sense of meaning, altered awareness, or a shift in the usual flow of the therapeutic encounter. Rather than being understood as unusual in a literal sense, these accounts appeared to reflect moments in which participants experienced an intensified relational and perceptual engagement with their clients. And we have got 3 sub-themes here: synchronicity, intuition, and altered sense of time. In synchronicity, ordinary elements took on a heightened personal and relational significance, and participants described sense of being in sync. The quote here illustrates that in participants saying, it felt like we were in sync, like a dance. Another theme, intuition, illustrates an immediate felt sense of knowing, a hunch, spontaneity. For example, I think I was acting more intuitively. The theory is there, but subconsciously. And finally, altered sense of time. Participants talked about changes in how they perceived the usual flow of time as slowing down or stopping. They also described silences and being particularly still or silent. For example, it was like time just sort of stopped for a bit. The final theme, growth, captures how participants understood moments of meeting as contributing to their development as therapists, as well as shaping their experience of the therapeutic relationship. It wasn't only about acquiring skills and learning. This growth appeared to involve increased confidence, relational awareness, and the ability to navigate complexity within the therapeutic encounter. Growth in the therapeutic self is the first sub-theme, and here participants talked about increased confidence and trust in the therapeutic judgment, and also about how they learn to reduce their self-doubt. One of the participants said, "It helped me to have that confidence." Another sub-theme, relation deepening and boundaries. This theme or sub-theme talks about deeper and more trusting relationships, about the need to maintain boundaries. And another participant shared, "I'll be honest, we could just be, big sister, little sister, friendly chat." Finally, there is the role of supervision as the final sub-theme. And this is about consolidating learning and gaining greater clarity. One of the participants said, "I think the other thing that clearly stands out is the supervision process." These findings align with perspectives that emphasize the co-constructed nature of therapeutic engagement. Participants described moments of meeting as arising unexpectedly, often accompanied by heightened affective attunement, mutual recognition, and connection. This aligns with findings from Duarte 2020, in which clients similarly reported being emotionally held and connected with such moments. The prominence of embodied awareness highlights the role of implicit bodily-based processes in therapeutic change, suggesting that trainees may access and interpret these moments not only cognitively, but through felt somatic experience. These findings are particularly important when considered in the context of trainee development. They suggest the value of knowledge beyond verbal or cognitive interpretation towards more felt and experiential domain, moving from knowing to being with. That means moving from techniques and knowledge towards relational domain and engaging in an authentic, embodied manner. This study has got some limitations. We used a convenient sample of 7 trainee counsellors drawn from the same training cohort as the research team, and as such, the findings reflect experiences of a relatively homogeneous group. In addition, participants were personally known to the members of the research team, which may have introduced response bias. And while all participants were trainee counsellors, their levels of previous exposure to therapeutic work varied, with some having substantial experience through volunteering or related roles, and others being relatively new to the area. Other than addressing limitations of this study, future research could benefit from examining moments of meeting in real time, for example through video-recorded therapy sessions combined with immediate post-session reflections from both therapists and clients. In addition, future studies could explore moments of meeting in longitudinal context, such as how these experiences change as therapists become more experienced or senior. And finally, it could be explored how this knowledge could be integrated into counselling training and applied in this setting.